quick announcement for you. Over in the autograph area, we have Toby Proctor and Jill Frappier from Sailor Moon right now, if you want to head over there. And coming up in the photo booth is our Japanese guest, Abe-san. If you'd like to head over there as well, you can do so. But up next, here at the stage in the vendor hall, we have a very, very special guest. Mr. Phil Guerrero. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Phil. Well, it sounds more like Phil Guerrero.
Awesome. Give him a round of applause, guys. But you know what? You know what? It might be
actually, it's such a lovely audience. I'm gonna pop out of the curtain for you.
All right, we'll do this again.
Let's do it again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our guest, special guest to the stage is Mr. Phil Guerrero.
I bet this guy nervous. Stay away from my table, bro. Those are fragile.
All right.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. Seriously, thank you. Round of applause for yourselves. Toby, if you can hear me, it's Phil. I love you, man.
I love, like, he was in on the Sailor Moon panel too. He kind of came in and was like sneaking in and then all coverts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
in my covert outfit with the Johnny Depp hat.
You blended really, really
Yeah, right. Well, I do, actually.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. This is awesome. This is, like I said, with Toby and Jill, it's like my childhood, you know, growing up on the zone and stuff. I don't want to make you feel old. I hope I'm not.
I'm not old. I'm only 52.
Nah, come on, you're 30.
I feel 30.
We always feel 30.
Well, I think I'm 30, but I don't.
We're children. We're boys. We never grow up.
I tried wrestling last year.
How did that go?
It was great. I got injured.
Well, it's always great when you get.
I did 6 matches. You can check them out on YouTube if you want to see a 51-year-old wrestle, 52-year-old wrestle. Yeah, I did. I actually won the belt in my first match, the tag team match.
Oh, congratulations! Hey, that's awesome.
Yes, yes. But I did train. I trained for like 3 months.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
And you basically get beaten up.
Yeah.
But it's a controlled beating. If you have a dream to be a wrestler, a professional wrestler, try it out, man. Seriously, I did it. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was old. Really old.
You're never
to be
too old.
trying that 51.
Okay, maybe wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. It was dumb. But I loved it. I really had a great time with it.
I work at a family fun center in Kamloops, and we had this one lady come in for her 87th birthday. She was skydiving the year before, so you're never too old to do anything, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never go skydiving even when I was like 18.
No, I
was too scared about that. But, you know. All right, guys. Just how many of you grew up watching the Zone? Awesome.
Oh, sweet. So you might know who I am. Awesome. Awesome. If you don't know who I am, call your dad.
There you go. I actually have a clip.
DJ Phil's here. Who's this clown?
I actually have a clip from YTV from the Zone back in the day. Just one second.
Oh, we have access to stuff?
Well, I have.
Oh, great. I can check my email. For you guys. For the fans. Oh, boy. If you don't see it.
Can't hear the sound, Tim. Sorry.
Anyways. Oh, we got it?
Can't see the picture. Hold on. You can't see the picture either. Hold on. That's my fault. That's my fault. I know exactly what I did. Just give me a sec.
None of these are me. None of those are me. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you're too young and don't remember when I was on, does anybody remember this? Snip. That's right. Can I tell you a quick story about Snip?
Coming up. Are you ready? Did you get all your shopping done?
There we go.
No, well, I got something to do today.
What?
Shopping.
Oh, so we have to buy clothes. We're still.
I'm sorry. I started watching myself and I got lost. I was like, oh, look how beautiful my skin was.
This is the first time we've ever talked about your family.
Anyway, so
Wow, that's the first time.
do you remember this? Do you
Well,
remember
this is
this?
a
Okay.
family now, isn't it?
So this was a puppet. I guess the story was he came from space, and he was a television that got wrapped up in bubble gum. To me, it was another puppet. Okay, so I used to talk to puppets before that, and I was just a kid. I was in my 20s, And maybe you'll be surprised to hear this, Jeremy. But I was kind of embarrassed. Because I was like in my 20s. So I was watching much music.
Yeah.
But I was talking to puppets. But I kind of wanted to be much, you know. So I was always like kind of, you know, so when the first set of puppets, the Grogs, they left. I was like, finally, I'll have like a talk show and like music guests and stuff like that because you guys are growing up. But they're like, no, you're getting a new puppet. I was like, oh no! And it was just kind of embarrassing with puppets. But they brought this puppet in, and I did the most evil thing once. He had like this robot arm. I was so mad they gave me a puppet again. He had this robot armature. They press the button like when the studio was down, when we weren't on television, it was like dark, and it was the perfect setting. I had a screwdriver, and I was like, yeah, give me a puppet. And I was like, I undid like the screw in the arm so that when he pressed the button, like during live TV, it would break.
And it did?
And they're like, it did. He started laughing. Everybody was laughing. I was like, this didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, this didn't work. So let that be a lesson to you. Don't do evil stuff. It never pays off.
How big was the actual Zone studio? I'm curious about that because it looks
The
like
Zone studio, I would say, was a room like this, and these squares, like that. It was kind of small. The first Zone studio was not even a studio. It was a room, and the cameraman, you couldn't even get like wide enough, so the cameraman's back was always against the wall. He was always like this.
Oh, jeez.
It was like that small. And there wasn't even like a producer. I didn't even know what I was going to say.
Yeah.
There was like a corkboard with like, my producer would leave like a message like, don't forget to mention the Winnipeg Children's Festival happening in July. And that was it. And then it would just be me and the cameraman.
Yeah.
So, and they wouldn't even be there.
Really?
Seriously, like it was so loose.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's go to the beginning. The reason why the Zone was there was because we got all these American shows and they're cut for like really long commercials. Those American commercials, you know, right? You watch a Super Bowl, it's like, oh my God, this commercial. So we weren't allowed to show that, so they had to fill time. And sometimes they made this like little animated roll-ins, and like they were really nothing. It's like, why are you showing me this? But dude, come on. But that's why, because the CRTC, the governing body, said you cannot show this kind of commercial for kids. So my job was because, well, we need to fill the time into something, and with live television, you could fit in exactly what was needed. Like if we needed 2 minutes and 37 seconds, I just go live for 2 minutes, 37 seconds.
Yep.
But because it was, we couldn't show commercials, you know what I mean? So what do? They put us on to read birthdays or whatever, and it was like this magical thing that, oh, okay, like we don't know what's going to happen, but what happened was I became maybe an older brother or a babysitter or someone there that was there.
Of course, yeah.
You know, while you watched, that watched with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Did you actually watch the shows in between, or like, or did you?
No, I went to the parking lot, smoked a cigarette.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Which is awful.
They didn't let you watch the shows. Oh, I don't know.
No. Like we did. Honestly, can I tell you the truth?
Please.
That job was not a job. I've done real jobs after, just to do jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That job, I was like 20 years old, doing this for a living. Hey, it's someone's birthday. All right, don't forget about the children's festival. Okay, we'll see you later. Power Rangers next. Cut.
Awesome.
Come back in the office.
Yeah.
People hated the on-air people because they would be like walking by with like their work, and then there's like me and PJ Paul, kind of like the TV's on, and we're kind of like this. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like it was a great job, you know. I look back at it and I think, wow, what a life. But I mean, I'm older now, so I see what's kind of more important. I don't look back at it like how Pauly Shore looks back at his life. Do you know what I mean? Like, those were the best days. Oh, that was when I was at my best. Like, you know what I mean? I always feel like the best is to come.
Of course.
There's always something new to come.
Of course.
And if you track my life after I left television, I went crazy. Like, I moved. I went to the States. I joined a goth band.
God?
I've never been in a band, but you remember I played guitar. I joined a goth band, a goth industrial band from Hawaii. I went to Los Angeles. We toured 2.5 months. I went from LA to Montreal, back to LA, last show in Honolulu. And I'd never been in a band before, and then I was dumb enough to say, yeah, I'll do this. But I really didn't understand what it entailed. Being in a band of that level, like they had 4 albums, but it's a goth band, you know what I mean? It wasn't the Rolling Stones. It was the 5 of us in a Yukon. This is after television. 5 strangers, basically. I didn't really kind of know these guys. And I was on the road for 2.5 months, learning how to, forget about playing the show. I had to learn how to lift heavy objects.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they were like, bro, don't lift like that, use your legs. I had to learn how to sleep in a car. Like, I would wake up in a rest stop in the middle of Kansas, and the fan's shaking. I'm like, what's going on? I look, it's just blue sky, and Wizard of Oz, wheat fields, and the wind is just going. It was like a life like that for 2.5 months. So after this cushy YTV job I did for 11 years, I kind of went nuts. I did that, and then I was living in the States, and I tried hip-hop, I was taking a hip-hop dance class, and I became a fashion stylist. I became a celebrity fashion stylist.
Really?
Don't ask how I did. There's this rapper named Little Mama. Does anyone remember Little Mama? Okay.
Yeah.
So she was a judge on Randy Jackson's America's Best Dance Crew. I did her clothes. I was this ex-TV guy. Nobody knew who I was there.
Yeah.
I had a Warner Brothers pass. I'm ironing in her trailer. I had this totally different life. But the thing is, I was kind of grifting out in LA. It's oh, you must be a writer. I'm yeah. You must be a fashion designer. Yeah. So I kind of I was kind of hustling out there. And I did that. I did a band. I was, oh my God. I fell in love with this, just reinventing and learning how to do it. I worked at American Apparel. Building the interiors of stores. This is after television.
Wow.
And now I have a drill, and I'm building these stores, and my crew were, I'm telling you, it was like one of these jobs. I was pallet jacks and shipping mannequins all over the world, building interiors of stores, earning $13 an hour, but honestly, it wasn't, I didn't even need to do it. I had a buddy that worked there. He's like, what do you do with your time? Don't you get a job? Get your job here. I was like, all right. But I loved it because I had these, Mexican gangster co-workers, and now I'm in this totally different life, and I get to meet these guys, and I come into work, and they're like, hey Phil, what's up? What's going on? I'll be like, hey Sam, nothing. What are you eating? Chicken sandwich? Psst, must be nice. Just getting into I love learning and being around these dudes. Oh, our Korean crew. These Koreans, no Koreans who've ever speak English. What you talking about, fool? That kind of
That's what they were saying.
It's the way they talk to each other. It was great. I love learning all this weird stuff, whether it was television or a band or fashion. And that only happened, that styling thing was because I got kicked off a stylist reality show.
Oh.
I auditioned for, I got on this show, I got kicked off to meet Rachel Hunter's stylist. She was this supermodel from the 90s. Anyways, I kind of went crazy after YTV. You're never and along with the wrestling, you're never too old to do something. I'm kind of nuts though.
We're all
he wants to go into that ring and start wrestling was stupid.
But you did it. You can say you've done it now, right?
I can say I've done it, but more importantly, I can say to me that I've done it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And you got the rotator cuff to
Yeah, I got injured. Funny enough, I didn't get injured. I got injured acting in a wrestling show. Vice Tales of the Territories. There's a scene where I have a gun, and I run in, and I get tackled by a dude that's your size. Okay? Backwards like this. I landed on the ground, my arm fell asleep, right away. It's still messed up. Totally screwed up my tennis.
I had a similar injury a little while ago. It's not fun at all.
It's not fun injuring yourself, but don't let it deter you.
Of course not.
Because that wrestling, I got beat the crap out of like all the time. Like a controlled beating. I had bruises, like I couldn't get out of bed.
Oh.
I couldn't get out of bed. But my body came back like stronger. Like, cause your body aids in injury and rebuilds cells. I used to have problem ankles. After the wrestling training, I took the ankle braces off when I played tennis. I swear to God, it almost cured certain things.
Really?
Yeah, when you challenge your body like that physically, like break it down and it rebuilds, and you break it down and rebuilds, I was pretty surprised with the body. The human body is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible if you test it. And we're talking about like testing it, like the wrestling ring. There's nothing like that stupid thing. Like, it's tough. Sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. Can you guys hear us okay, by the way? Okay. It's hard for us to hear ourselves, that's why.
Yeah, you wake up. There's nobody there. I'm just kidding. No one's asleep.
So, one of the things...
Ask me anything.
One of the things I remember from was the 1999 into 2000 storyline that was going on with the Grogs when Warren was trying to take over.
Take over the station.
Yeah.
They kind of discussed it at the museum. I'm an exhibit at the museum. I'm
Yes.
like a fossil.
I can attest to this. Not that he's a fossil, but the museum. It's here in Toronto. I flew in from BC on Friday morning. We went to that, my friend and I, and it was amazing. They have today's special, the Zone. Like they have their original Grogs and stuff there.
Yeah, Warren's there. The
Warren.
actual. Oh my God! When I went there, I hadn't seen that puppet like since they left.
Did you
Like
punch
we're
it?
talking, I was in my 20s. And it was like the opening of it, so there's a bar, and he was over there, and I'm at the bar, and I get my drink, and it's just like, he's there on the wall.
It's stopping you.
Oh my God. My God.
You know,
that was a funny thing. That Warren, Jeremy, can I tell you that, I talked to a lot of puppets. There was like a crazy rabbit, and a little dinosaur, and we tried them all. But the character of that Warren, he was like the grouchy, grumpy. Kids love that, man. You guys, when you were young, he was like, shut up, moron. Like, kids love that stuff. Like, I couldn't believe it. And YTV couldn't believe it. Like, as much as they kind of didn't like what was going on, because, like these adults running a kid station, it's like, the last thing that they wanted to hear was that you guys were getting into fights at recess because of the Power Rangers, or Pogs. Pogs was the other thing, because now you guys were gambling, and it was like gambling, and some of you guys would go home crying because you lost all your Pogs, and then the parents would call us. Yeah, like the Pogs.
well, you probably never had to deal with the actual complaints yourself, did you?
No, I didn't. Man,
Just let the complaints
I
depart.
told you what my job was, man.
Yeah.
It was like TV.
I love it.
It was a cushy job.
Yeah.
That job was not like real life. Let me tell you something about celebrities.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Don't ever wish to have this life. It's not real. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. I was 2 years old, and I'm not bragging, and I don't miss it. But I'm old now. I can look at it. But let's say that we had these things called movie junkets. Okay, and what that was is if Batman's coming out, what they do is they'll invite the reporters from all over the place, and they will like Universal Studios, because you're a reporter, will fly you to Los Angeles on the Friday. They put you up at the Four Seasons Hotel. You watch the movie that Friday night. That's what these interviewers do, and then you interview all the celebrities on the Saturday, and then you fly home on Sunday. And it's all first class. And you know what I mean? Like, it's the Four Seasons. You get $80 a day on the hotel bill, all paid by the movie company. That's where those millions of dollars go. And you're surrounded by these, like, I didn't like them. Like, these, like, oh, I do entertainment reporting in Wichita. And then they all know each other, and they're like, were you at the so-and-so junket in Hawaii last month? Oh, yes, it was great, yeah. And it's just a bunch of people trying to collect free, like, flight points so they can go on, And the culture of it was like, that you get treated, and then you're meeting these stars and everything, but it's just not it's just not real life.
Yeah.
It's not real life. And I look back at it, I was like, man, that's ridiculous. Like that's a ridiculous thing that, you know, you're making money doing this. I'm almost ashamed of it. But anyway, you know what I mean? That's not life. It's so funny. But I guess that's why everybody. Anyways, I had more fun in American Apparel with my Mexican coworkers, man.
With real people as opposed to
Real people. Like lunchtime conversations like this. Man, it went off this weekend. I'd be like, what are you talking about, Sal? And he's like, no, this dude started tripping and he started firing. And I was like, I have my piece. I'm like, do I fire back? Like, I'm like, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel so cool. Like, being around this, like, oh yeah? And then I could go to like I got kicked out of private school. I could go like, yes, my friend Sal got caught up in quite a gun skirmish. You know, like, the fact that I could be around that. I mean, but basically my point is I had more fun doing things that had nothing to do with money or fame, just to challenge myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's really what life's about.
It's great to hear that kind of stuff too, because you know a lot of people aspire to go into showbiz with this mindset that I'm gonna be super famous. It's gonna be great luck.
Yeah, there's always an angle.
Yeah.
Like there's like I hate that. I don't know. There's like always an angle to life. Like get more followers and like I don't know. Like you're your most important follower.
Yeah.
You know, impress yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you, when you were on the zone and your just everyday life and
Yes.
stuff like that, out going grocery shopping or whatever, how often were you recognized? Did you have any like crazy people, or like not crazy, but like just fans like, oh my God, that's Phil?
Oh, I didn't do grocery shopping. I had people to do that.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm just joking.
Silly me, with your chauffeur.
Sin, don't forget the bacon.
Yeah.
You know, I wish. No.
Did you yell at your chauffeur a lot, or?
Yeah, no. But I'll tell you, I was, the one brigade I had, like I made okay money, but boy, I spent it. I was a kid. I was dumb. I was like 20 years old. I bought a dumb car, like as soon as I got that job. And I remember I was just buying DVDs and getting like the first cell phone, and it was like $400, and it was just like, yeah, whatever. And that was dumb. Because I could have, I remember house prices back then. This town, what happened, man? Life got really expensive, didn't it?
Yeah, Vancouver too. Oh.
Yeah. You know what this city used to be when they talk about a working class city, it means you could work at that place on Bloor and live like a block away. But that's impossible. Like you're not working at Belly Buster Subs and like renting that beautiful annex apartment like a block away.
Yeah.
Man, we need to get back to that. Just like, you know what I mean? So, because then we don't have neighborhoods anymore. Neighborhoods that take care of each other. Boy, this is going deep. Do you want me to talk more about celebrities?
If you want to.
Stupid.
Hey, we should talk about some of your other shows too that you were on. You did a couple of game shows or hosted some shows. Didn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I did 11 years at YTV. And between 20 and 31, that was like, I felt like, I was itching to get out of there. Like, I could have stayed, but I was dumb. I'll tell you, the last year I worked there, I didn't even want to work there. I kind of came in with this stupid number contract negotiation, just so they'd say absolutely not, and then I could be free and go. Like, you can see how I lived my life after that. I was itching to do something. Like, there was nothing more I could do at YTV. I did like their award shows. I did a magazine show. Do you remember the Anti-Gravity Room,
Yep.
like a comic book show? I hosted that, and that was incredible. You know, like that show I look back on, and what a fantastic archive now of comic book culture in the 90s. And I'll tell you, nobody was rolling cameras on that culture back then. In 1995. Like you will find me other video footage of like guys like Rob Liefeld and Image or even whoever invented Spawn. I know that guy anyways. You know what I mean? Like of 90s footage, we were the only ones. We were interviewing Neil Gaiman and like, God, I remember going to Jack Kirby's house and interviewing his wife, this old lady, Roz Kirby. and seeing this art on the wall, like Jack Kirby art on the wall, like of this house in California, like that to me, like wow, I do look back at that, and that's pretty incredible. If you know any of those names, I interviewed Roger Corman. That guy he discovered like Jack Nicholson and, you know, Ron Howard as a director. Look him up. You know, there's these titans of these creative industries, comic books and stuff that we got to interview, and there's real value in that. And thank God some people uploaded episodes of Anti-Gravity Wave, you know.
Did they never give you episodes that you were on, like for like the episode?
It's like you know what? And this is so sad. I think that tape library got, you know, like all the tapes we had at YTV, you know, there was no thought to keep it. Like, who would want this? That was the kind of thinking. Like, why, it was almost like news. Why would you keep a tape of CTV News Tuesday, February 18, 1972? Like, why would I? Do you know what I mean? It's too bad because, you know, that's the last of the physical media, tape. You know what I mean? And now everything's digital. But I think like all those episodes are kind of gone. Like nobody knows. Like I know the executive producers of that show. It's like we don't know what they, unless we kept some and brought them home. And I have some of those beta tapes, these big archaic looking tapes that you need this crazy machine that I don't have, you know. But it's too bad. But there's some stuff that I'm really proud of that I did of that 11 years. But as a human being, I was ready to go. Yeah. I was 31. Yeah, I gave them this number. I want this much. And they were supposed to say no, and I'd be free. And they're like, give me a second. My producer left the room. She came back in. It's like, okay. I was like, oh my god. Like, puppets for another, you know, like I gotta talk to a toilet for another year. I'm 30 years old. I'll be 30 soon. I don't want to pull messages out of a toilet or whatever I was doing. Yeah. But you know what? One great thing, do you remember?
Yes, Alves, yes.
Do you guys remember Alves? Oh my god, I wish you remember. What we did was we kind of ripped it off. We ripped it off of Conan O'Brien. They do this thing where they have an Elvis statue. They shoot your mouth big and they put the mouth on the Elvis statue. So we ripped that off. And PJ Paul was producing at the time. Kind of. We joke about it because he was supposed to be producing me, but we were friends. Like we'd go out in the bars and now he's producing me. Yeah. And I've been doing that show for like 10 years. So today we're doing this, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Damn, you're undermining me. You know, like when I was a kid, I was dumb. Anyways, I don't even know what story I'm telling right now, but so Alves, yes. So it was his idea to do this Elvis statue. So we did it live. He did the Elvis statue first. He did the mouth, and he did that, for lack of a better word, derivative version of Elvis. Like, hey man, I'm on fire. I'm good, man. That draw. And my thing was always to try and make Paul laugh on live TV so much that he can't recover. Like that was it was always my goal in my last few years of YTV, like live. And I got like, so he's like, you do it on the next segment. And this is like a live, like it was about like 7 minutes. It was like a long time. So I now I'm the mouth of Elvis, and I guess he was expecting me to do the extension of his creative, whatever. And so he's like, Elvis, what's going on? And for some reason I chose to speak like a German, I just used a German accent. He's like, hey Elvis, what's been going on? And I think I said something like, no worries, Paul, long time. And he's like, you see his face kind of go like, it's like, I said, he said, like, what's going on, Elvis? I said, many changes, Paul, long time. Like I'm trying to say, like, it's been a while, there's been some changes. You know, Elvis now speaks.
This is live, right?
Live. And I had him laughing so hard. And he never did the voice again. Like it became a thing, like people started like writing in and emailing and like, oh, Alves, like, so from at that point, and he always got mad because I was trying to find a character for this German-speaking Elvis statue, and my thing was to always talk, and it would frustrate Paul to no end. I would talk about like 50 actors from like the 20s or something, like from the 50s, like I was chilling with my friend Danny Kaye, and of course Frank. And I was trying to be referring to Frank Sinatra. We would have our own name these old clubs from the 50s, and he would bother them, they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. These are kids you're watching.
These are kids. But the funny thing is now you guys are now old, and some of the things like I'm always approached like, now I get it. Like now I know what you're talking about. Like sometimes I would never know what it's live. I'd have to fill 7 minutes, and we would go, I would see like a hard countdown, like there was a clock. Okay, you're going, it's like -7, 6, 5, and the puppeteer was Snit, and I would be like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? It's 5, 4, what do you want to talk about? Movies? All right, welcome back. Hey, did you guys see the movie? And then we just go from there, and then we would just have a conversation.
So a lot of improv, basically.
A lot of improv. You could not do that anymore. Absolutely not. Don't you feel like any piece of television, like they're trying to sell you something? Or there's some kind of I hate that. Like you could never do what I did. Like what do you want to talk about? Like, and then our bosses not paying attention to what we were, they really, like our executive, like producers, it would be on a television in their office with the sound down. And they wouldn't even be paying attention.
Isn't that what bosses do?
And if something bad happened, then they would hear about it, and that was it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your
I was going to say, isn't that what bosses normally do, though? It's just kind of...
Yeah, but this is television. Now I think there's too much at stake. I can't imagine being at a TV station where it's like, what are you going to talk about? I don't know. 10, 9, 8. Do you think, like, no way. There's just too much at stake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of a magic time. Yeah, I don't think you could do it. Honestly, my fantasy, and maybe I smoked something and I came up with this idea, and you know what I'd want to do is like broadcast from the roof of my house. And you can only pick up the signal by being in the neighborhood with an antenna. I think there's a way to do it. Because you can get free television with an antenna, like HD, uncompressed HD. If you get a really good powered antenna and hook it up into your TV, it will pick up stations from Buffalo and all these crazy stations. And it used to be like that if you didn't have cable. You would have those TV antennas, you see those?
Yeah.
You could use them now for your HD, but back then you would just get channels. So I just want to do that. I want to have it just old school, like at midnight, there's the national anthem, and then bars and tone all night, until like the morning news, and then there's a talk show, and then the Flintstones at lunch, and then like soap operas, like daytime soaps in the afternoon, but you produce it all from the house.
Yeah.
And the news is just what's up in the area. 2 blocks away, we saw, you know, and the commercials would just be that one, you know, the shoe guy down the street, come to Vic's shoe repair. Well, like, could you imagine, like, start it small again?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Bring it back to the old days.
Yeah, serve the community. Could you imagine if, like, I could only broadcast the signal that you're on your phones, it's just us. That'd be great.
That'd be very unique, and it'd be very, like, niche. And awesome.
Then I could go and say, what do you want to talk about? I don't know.
Oh, get a radio show. I have a show at, sorry, I'm just going to give you a second. I have 2 radio shows at a local university station in Kamloops. One is called Animé-d in Japan, Insanity on the Radio.
And then
Japanese music. And then Eurovision, the Vision of Eurovision. Yeah, Kamloops sounds like a breakfast cereal. But, oh yeah,
is it up? Oh, there it is. It's just
perfect. Yeah, it sounds like a breakfast cereal. And
are you guys okay over there? They have big fires over there.
Yes. Kamloops is
Were you
fine.
marked safe?
We're fine, yeah. Kelowna got hit, Scotch Creek, a lot of the areas around there. It's very smoky though. So that's why when I flew here and landed here, and it was like beautiful out, I was like, oh, I can breathe again. That's what this cough is from. Because I went to Anime Revolution 2 weeks ago, and I got there, I was sick. Throughout the weekend, things got better. I was fine. Get back to Kamloops the next day, just this cough is back because of all the smoke and stuff. It was like you're chewing the air basically. It was horrible, but it's been pretty sad, pretty scary stuff. But
thanks for coming to the PJ Phil panel, sponsored by the Firemen's Association of Kamloops.
exactly.
But yeah, I was just concerned. I had to ask.
But no, I
had
think
to
like,
ask.
if you wanted to do a show, like university stations, honestly, like that would be. It's
I think I want to broadcast from my roof.
from Europe. Yeah, hey, do that.
I think I
let's
looked
stop
into
it.
it. I think it's like $100,000 to get there.
Oh.
But then some guy said, no, all you have to do is get a reverse VHS machine and broadcast backwards. Or something like that. You could like, someone mentioned like you just have to get a, like you just go hook it up into your antenna and then go backwards. Something like that. Could you imagine? I know. Here, there's a face like, what? And I was like, wait, what? Yeah.
How many of you know what rotary phones are?
Yeah.
So, okay,
Oh my God. Yeah, you see them in the exhibition. Yeah, I grew up with that. Man, yeah, I come from a really old generation.
What I miss about, just personally about old white TV is like, they would do like the theme things, like I mentioned before, like Warren trying to take over, or Halloween, when they would do that, and they'd have
Yes.
like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? You guys remember that, our Halloween? You know what, it didn't take much back then. It was such a, the wants were so simple. I think nowadays it's like, kids now, it's like, that's only 2 colors.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Back then, we could excite you guys with, we're showing, I don't know.
Rugrats, Halloween.
Yeah, we're showing Rugrats. We're having a Rugrats marathon! Like, I'd be like, you guys would be like, hey man, did you hear? They're having a Rugrats marathon next week. Rugrats back to back from 4 till 10.
Yeah. Hey, there was that time.
Like, oh.
There was that time that you guys had that where people could vote in which show was going to be back to back.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I remember calling in actually for that. And so,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we made it harder. It's like, you want to win this contest? You gotta get a postcard. You gotta write stuff down. You gotta go to the post office. You gotta get a stamp. You know?
Yeah.
Now it's just so. It's like, what do you have? iPhone 11? These kids today, like, iPhone.
Yeah.
iPhone, man. Come on.
I remember 13 Dead End Drive was a board game that you guys were talking about back in the day too, and I got it. I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I like this thing. I want to get it. I saw it on TV. I want to get it. But like, another thing that I got to ask is, you mentioned the Power Rangers thing. There was that thing that happened where
Yeah, you guys beat each other up.
Parents-
I got in trouble.
yeah, parents came together and got it removed or something because it was too violent.
It was too violent. Oh, you know, along those lines too. Yeah, you guys were like Power Ranger each other at recess.
Yeah.
Honestly, what was going on? Were
I
you
was the
just
Red
like,
Ranger.
I'm the Blue Ranger.
Yeah.
Give me your paws. Like, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Pogs, Power Rangers.
These children's street gangs going on, and St. Alphonsus Catholic beat each other up.
So I wonder if any
I
parents.
guess so. I mean, they show you guys karate, of course. I mean,
I wonder if
I'm
any
gonna
of
karate chop Billy.
if those parents like that are now grandparents now, or like the older crowd, watch like on YouTube, they'll see those old commercials for Pogs, and it's like they twitch because they remember back then. Oh my God, my kids would like fight, and I was instrumental in getting this show taken off the air or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. They're probably no longer with us.
fair enough.
You know, like I said, now it's just like, you know.
So you were telling the story at the Sailor Moon panel before this about how, if you could repeat it for some of these people here, about how Sailor Moon happened to be chosen to go on YTV.
We had this crazy mad genius in charge of programming. You know, there used to be people where their job was, we think that you guys should have this cartoon at 4 o'clock. And I think at 4:30 we should hit it up with this, because I think you guys will really like this. You know, I don't feel like that's going on anywhere at all. I feel like a computer is choosing the scheduling for like, and the other thing is like, you watch CMT and it's just back-to-back episodes of, what is it? What do they show? Cheers? Or something? Do you know what I mean? Or
when
Everybody Loves Raymond. Like, what does this have to do with CMT?
And Teletoon got live action shows, and it was just, why is that on a
We used to make our own shows, like the shows you're talking about. Like, those were big productions, like
PJ Katie's Farm, that was a...
PJ Katie's Farm, like that's kind of gone. And I don't know, but the environment's not there anymore. Now you have these, and it's just like, that's why I think I would rather just force you to watch my channel on an antenna. Because then I think it would be like, did you hear about the show? Could you imagine that you would have to go to your buddy's house because your buddy has the antenna to pick up the signal? Like maybe, like things worth like pursuing or things worth what? Like, you know what I mean? But you put that heart into it. Like you don't just get a computer to choose showing. You know what I mean? There's like you don't care.
Would you ever bring the puppets
the audience anymore? It's like they don't give a shit about the audience. It's not about what you guys would like and you guys tuning in and having a good time. It's just like what will they buy? How will we get people to get advertising on that? Like so now it's just like, well then it's low-hanging fruit. It's just let's report on the car crashes or the gun shooting and which I don't know where is it worse, is it better? I don't know.
You know, and again, like back when you were hosting the Zone and stuff, you'd have things like the Zone segments. It would be all different shows. Rugrats, Superhuman Samurai, Cyber Squad.
Like there was thought. Like there were humans saying, you love this, then you're gonna love this. Oh, wait till they see this.
And now it's like SpongeBob followed by SpongeBob, and guess what? SpongeBob.
Which we invented. Rugrats. It was so easy to please you guys. But it was, could you imagine to please them, man?
I honestly genuinely miss those days. Do you guys too? Like, have you noticed how much has changed? But again, everything's on streaming now too, so unfortunately a lot of television is dying. What's sad is the Zone is gone now. It's canceled. It's you know, when I heard that.
I gotta say, like, you know, the Zone, I can't believe it lasted. All the other shows are way gone. You know, It's Alive, the Anti-Gravity, you flippin' name it. You know, PJ Katie's Farm, like, we made those.
That one was so unique too, because she did that as part of her segment randomly, and then it just took off and became right? Like it's...
And we used to have like award shows, like the do you ever remember the YTV Achievement Awards? That was shot here. Remember those? Like, live from the Metro Convention Center in it's the YTV. It was like a big thing, and it felt like you were a part of like the Academy. Like it was a big production. There's chicks and camera people and a truck with a switcher going, camera one, take two, camera two, you know, and I don't know if you remember who came through those YTV Achievement Award shows we did every year. It was basically a show where we would reward young people for their achievements. And I remember like this actress, Estella Warren, one year. She was like in Planet Dates with Mark Wahlberg. She was like, she won an award for synchronized swimming from us. DJ A-Track won an award. Tegan and Sarah.
Oh wow.
That band, I don't know. Anyway, some band. Don't you love watching old people trying to work out stuff? You know that band?
Back in my day, you know, it was that band that played that kind of music.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Okay, good.
Good gosh.
Wow.
Bare Naked Ladies. They won the first YTV Achievement Awards.
Did you?
So it was neat. It was really neat.
Did you ever have any guests that it was just a horrible time? Like you were trying to...
Oh, like bad interviews?
You don't have to name names, but like, just, it was horrible. It was like, it was so weird for you.
Well, I don't want to name names. But did you know Mariah Carey will only... Oops! Mariah Carey will only get shot from a certain side.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You were not allowed to put like a camera like over here. And if you want, look at every picture of her. She's on.
I've never noticed that.
Oh yeah, I guess I can't. I don't know. Like awful, like guests, like celebrities,
or just anybody where you're trying to do an interview and it's just it's so awkward. Like they're obviously not very good with interview stuff, and you're trying to get this. Energy.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi was kind of like that.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that. But then I think I was being stupid. Like I brought my 12-string guitar and I was like, maybe they'll like do something with it. John is not interested in, like, you hear from, like, his handlers, like, yes, John won't be doing that today. Okay. So already I'm kind of, you know, and, yeah, I'll talk about this. He had a booger, like, I'm interviewing him, he had, like, this, like, booger, just, and it was, like, and he kept, and I think he knew it was there, but it was there and you could see it, and I knew the camera could see it. And he kept like going like this, and it was like gonna fall. And every time he did this, I was like trying to listen to the interview and all the questions, but all I could think was, come on, baby. You can do it, baby. He'd be like, yeah, you know, we love playing poker in the private jet. I'm like listening to him talk about it or something like that. I'm like, I don't care, John. You can do it. And then finally, it went. I forgot I wanted to look at the tape to see it. Like we could slow motion it.
In slow motion, you add that song. Like,
Yeah, he just kind of wasn't into the interview. I remember there was like a band that one of the guitar players from Pearl Jam was in. It was like one of his bands, but he was in.
Yeah.
It was like him and his singer. It wasn't Pearl Jam, but it was the guitar player from Pearl Jam. And you could kind of tell sometimes, like, you'll see with their body language, if they're sitting there at the interview like this. You're in trouble. Like as an interview, you're like, I gotta crack this guy. So these guys are rock and rollers, and a friend of mine did a Kiss impression at the time. I don't know, has anybody seen Kiss live? The guy's ridiculous. The singer, he's been doing it for 1,000,000 years, so he has this way of handling the crowd. Like, how many of you out there do you like alcohol? Like, you know, like, of course the guy's like, ah! And he has this little bit where he's basically talking about, his story is kind of, we used to be a small band before we were a big band. And I used to be out, like, I was one of you kind of thing, but he'll do this for the stage. So I did this for the guitar player. I remember, this was actually live, and the interview was kind of sucking, and all of a sudden I just said, do you want to hear my Kiss impression? He said it like this, please. Like that. So this is what I did. I said, this is the singer from Kiss. I used to be out there where you are. Then you brought me up here. Do you want me to come down there and sing where you are? And then a string would pull, and then he'd play his guitar out like where the audience is like his comment, I'm gonna be with you, the fan. And he like started laughing, and then you can see their body language break down.
Yeah. I know, it's hard to say.
Then you got him. I never knew if I was that great an interviewer. Like, I'm not that kind of interviewer like George Dromolopoulos, where he's like super researched. I feel like I'd rather just have a conversation, and maybe I don't know things about you, like maybe I didn't know that you had this many albums, but why don't you tell me about it? Do you know what I mean? Because not necessarily everybody out there knows about this person anyway. You know what I mean? So I just like to have conversations, you know, and it teaches you to listen. You know, these interviewers, like those stupid junkets I told you about with those interviewers. Okay, so this is what they do in the hotel. So you go to a certain floor of the hotel, and like I did Batman once, and in every room in this one hallway, it's like Nicole Kidman, you know what I mean? Nicole Kidman's in the one room, and there's 2 cameras set up, and then George Clooney's in the next room, and Christopher O'Donnell's in, and then Alicia Silverstone, and you go from room to room. And there's 2 cameras set up with 2 tapes, and they shoot the celebrity and they shoot you. You do your interview, they hand you your 2 tapes. And you take it back to the station and cut it, right? This is this job. So I would see these interviewers like sitting outside the room because they're going up next. Like this, like this, practicing, like. What was it like shooting in Toronto? What was it like shooting in Toronto? Like practicing this, like, you know what I mean? Like, God, man, just go talk to George, man. Listen to what he's saying. Because I didn't like that. I didn't like having a list of questions. Because it doesn't make sense. Because if I want to ask you this, but then if you get on if you start talking about something, and then all of a sudden, and how many children do you have? Well, I was talking about, you know what I mean? You can't have any kind of a flow. So, I don't know, like I've had some people just like, you're lazy. No, if I don't know, I'll ask.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, let's get to know each other.
Yeah,
Do
conversation.
you know what I mean? And if I don't know, I'll ask. You can tell me. You know? But if you're gonna sit there and be like, you didn't know that I was born in, you know, like, no. Who cares about you? Like, celebrity. Sorry, even though I was sort of whatever.
Did you know?
I'm like,
I was actually on a YTV show once. It was
what show?
Zoinked. Have you ever heard of Zoinked?
I think,
Remember that one?
I think so.
It's one of those kids slime shows.
One of those kids slime.
Yeah. So they.
You see, we could get you guys so great. Slime show, Rugrats 5 times in a row.
Yeah. It was fun. I got slimed.
You got slime.
I was dumb. I did it in cosplay, sort of. I wore like a Sephiroth costume from Final Fantasy VII and like a Shuichi wig from Gravitation. And I'm in there, and I didn't think I was going to get slimed. But first of all, they're like, we want you to do your original song. I get there, they're like, you can't use your instrumental. Like,
yeah,
copyright. Okay.
That's amazing. And you're like, you planned for weeks or something. You planned it, and then all of a sudden, no.
Yeah.
And then now you're.
Yeah, and then you go on there, and they make you do all these takes, and then the kids are pretty much fed what to say. It's kid judges, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's something.
Oh yeah. And TV is so fake.
It is, but it was so. But you get slimed, and it hits you really hard. And I asked, I'm like, what's it made out of? Just curious, because I got it all over my costume. The lady's like, you don't want to know. I said, no. Well, okay, don't say that. Now I want to know what it is. KY jelly. Tons of KY jelly, apparently. That's what the slime is made out of. So, they have a shower in the back.
Sorry, what's KY jelly?
Yeah.
Explain that to me, Jeremy, here at Animé Toronto.
Yes. It is a
KY jelly? What's that? What's that, mommy?
Yes. But it was an amazing experience, and they flew me out here for it. I got to go.
Did you like it?
It was fun, but at the same time, like
what do you think about like being in a studio shooting television environment? It's weird, right?
It is. It's very odd, and it was all guys.
It makes no sense.
For some reason, it was all men that were the contestants that day. So when you have a bunch of guys in the back, there were 2 that made balloon animals with like genitals and stuff like that. It was bizarre. We're on this kids show. Everybody's back.
Genitals? What are those?
But like it was a weird time.
KY jelly on Are they related in any way?
In one way or another, yeah. I see where this is going. Yeah, keep this. But no,
I know where it ends.
It was an interesting experience. Like it was my first time doing like any kind of a television thing like that. But yeah, like it goes for half an hour episode. I think it took 2 or 3 or 4 hours to film it because every time someone gets slimed, they have to stop everything. Everybody grabs towels, mops, whatever there is available, and they just clean off that stage. And then they have to set it up for the next thing. They make you do like 3 takes, and they decide what they're going to use, and it's totally disingenuous, really, honestly.
Well, I remember because I was doing Little Mama's Clothes for America's Best Dance Crew. I sat in on one of those shows, and honestly, you don't know what the hell is going on. You're cheering, and you don't know why. You can't hear the hosts or anything. Like you just see them up there with like doing their hosting bits like this. And then they make you cheer, and you're like, yeah! And you're like, what the hell is going on? So, this is how I refer to it. On the sets of like movies, shows, it's not there for you.
Yeah.
It's not there to entertain you. If you see these like audiences, they don't care. They don't even know what's going on. Dancing with the Stars, it's like, what's happening? Are they gonna dance? You're kind of like background. You're like, why do they need to know? Just tell them to cheer, they'll cheer. It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's totally disingenuous. The reality show that I was on was really interesting because it was maybe 2002 or 3, which is sort of the beginning of reality shows and what the kinds of reality, like, do you know what I mean? It really started with the real world, but then they figured out a million ways to do this, right? Like, so I'm on this stuff, like basically you know what it is. It's like you're trying to be a celebrity stylist, and if you make it to the end, you're gonna style this model on a red carpet at a fashion show. And I came from television, so I was really interested to see how reality shows work. And when they call it unscripted drama, it's like they will try to, if I could word this, and try to exact an outcome by any means other than giving you lines and actions. So if you have this reality show with like the leader of the KKK and the leader of the NAA, you know, they'll put them in a room together. Do you know what I mean? And
It's the drama.
that's how they get what they want.
Yeah.
So I remember when they would take you to do your interviews in the house, like somewhere else, your one-on-one interviews.
Yeah.
They would sit you down, and I swear to God, the first question I got was like, so who in the house do you hate?
Of course.
You have to give us a name. And I would see people come out of there crying.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's how they do it. It's real, but it's not real. Do you know what I mean? They will,
Producer, right?
yeah, they get what they want by putting you in situations or forcing situations.
Yeah.
It's nothing but real. When I lived in Hollywood, we would see the OC filmed all the time because they would hit these clubs, and I was going out a lot
As one
in
does.
Hollywood. If you look at my stupid Facebook photos, it's stupid. Like it was, anyways. So I don't even know what I'm talking about.
That's okay. You know what? We've been talking for a full hour. It's actually.
Oh no, I'm not done. Let me just show you. Has it been an hour already?
It's been an hour, yeah.
I hope that was okay for you guys. I don't know. I
I
hope
had a
I.
great conversation with him. I think so. And guess what? He's going to be over in our photo booth in a little bit here, and autographs as well, too, guys. If you want to check
Take
him
up wrestling at 51. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it.
This is PJ Phil from your childhood telling you this stuff, so
Thank you.
make sure, you know.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you very much, guys.